Japan has this weird tendency where they always seem to just take what the West is doing musically and just show us up for absolutely no reason. We get Madonna and they get Henri. We get Steely Dan and they get whatever's going on here. The Brits get all the trip hop bands, and you know what Japan gets? I actually don't know. They did get Poison Girlfriend though. Melting Moment, released in 1992, is the second EP by Japanese artist Noriko Sekiguchi under the name Poison Girlfriend. I mistakenly thought this was her first release, but it actually was her second. I also made the mistake of looking up Melting Moment without her artist name, so all I got back were the Pretty Patties from SpongeBob. For some context, the 90s was the birthplace and the graveyard of trip hop, so it never really stuck around for very long. Most of the popular albums came out within 7 years of each other. Records like Dummy, Introducing, and Mezzanine usually come to mind. Then you had the records with the trip hop ingredients like Becoming X, Garbage 1, Garbage 2, and Peak. Melting Moment kind of epitomizes that lush, electronic, semi-goofy but also existentially terrifying sound that absolutely dominated the 90s, and if you listen to enough of it, you'll know what I'm talking about. Blends together industrial, electronic, hip-hop, pop, dream pop, anything with an op at the end pretty much. Many of her tracks incorporate kind of old-school pop songwriting, French more than anything. Take this and the fact that Noriko lived in Paris, and you'll start to see a pattern here. I think her past is reflected in most of the tracks in some form. She also lived in London for a time, so I don't know if I'm just going crazy, but it sounds like she's talking with a British accent sometimes. Many of her lyrics are also completely in French, and then there's the song that is literally just titled Why. I'm not complaining, but hearing a native Japanese woman speak French in a genre that came from England is very odd. It wouldn't be an electronic album if it didn't sample about 50% of its core structure, vocals, drums, or pretty much any other musical element from older records. In this album's case, even though I assume it does plenty of sampling, it also features a full-blown sci-fi cover of a Mary Hopkins song. I was under the impression it came from the Delita song, but it turns out the Delita song was a cover of the original. Funny how that works. Thought I was onto something, but it turns out I'm still stupid. There's another French connection though. I'm going all over the place, but I do just want to highlight some key points. First, Noriko isn't really what I'd call a conventionally good singer, but kind of works out in her benefit anyway because her voice is soft and non-threatening, which lends itself to a pretty soothing atmosphere in my opinion. Kind of like Bob Dylan.
You see this one-eyed midget.
Words usually reflect lost love, like in Hardly Ever Smile where it's most prominent with the lyrics.
You could be mine, I could be yours, but it's only an illusion.
Most of the songs include some mention of a broken relationship, with the exception of The Future Is Now.
Be positive, you know the future has just begun from now.
Not to sound extra crazy, but I do think there's a hidden sort of message relating to living in a post-technological society. I usually wouldn't think twice about this, but there's a minor track on her next album that has a fun little tile that says, "Slave to the computer." Seems to me she's hinting at the idea that we'll soon become over-reliant on technology in the future, and that we have to be careful not to let it encroach upon our humanity. Then again, I could just be looking too deep into it. If I had $1 for every time a cryptic piece of 90s Japanese media predicted a harmful technological future, I'd have $2. Not gonna name names here though. Like I said before, the vocals aren't perfect. She's never completely off key, so it's not much of an issue to me personally, but you do kind of have to keep that in mind. Noriko never goes too hard on it either, it's always kind of restrained. It sounds like she's about to cry sometimes. Again, this isn't an issue to me, but it's very 90s, if that makes any sense. Very much a product of its time, with the mixing and the overall infantile techno sound. At the end of the day, it's only 30 minutes long, probably because there's only one track that's below 5 minutes. So you're gonna have to approach it knowing this album is meant to be an experience of sorts. I believe a good word to describe it is dreamlike. I mean, it's drenched in reverb and delay more often than a lot of techno. People do like to throw the dreamlike label around quite a bit, but I think it's pretty applicable here. Take the cover art for instance. It's quite green. Very washed out. Very bright. Makes me think I'm looking at an alien. Something I would see in my dream. Or nightmare. Well, there you go. Listen to it. Or don't, if you're not into this type of music. If you aren't, then I just wasted about 5 minutes of your time. You might as well listen to it then.